What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Universal Mastery. Welcome back to my public YouTube channel. This is going to be an extremely significant and an extremely valuable subject that it is that we are going to be going into in our today's video. And this is something that literally I'm going to be breaking down in so much practicality so that you can actually integrate and process what it is that I'm truly trying to communicate. These are things that actually a lot of people do not fully understand and are not able to really digest in a healthy way. And I'm going to be speaking about this from personal experience and all of the things that I've specifically learned on this subject, and I'm continuing to learn. And it is extremely valuable for your integration process. I promise you this. Tune into what it is that I'm going to be saying because this is actually going to be one of the most important videos that I've ever recorded in my entire life. Okay. And this has to do with the process of going through shadow and then opening up love within the body, within the nervous system, within the energetic field, to then being really able to step into your true identity, your true form for whatever that looks like for you, which also comes with your life path, the direction it is that you are headed towards as the soul that you are in regards to your purpose and in regards to your understanding on who you are as a whole. I'm going to be explaining the ebb and the flow of the death and the rebirth process, but how exactly this intertwines together and how you work with shadow in order to access deeper layers and deeper aspects of your heart and of your love. Okay. And how that love and that heart space starts to change the entire trajectory of your whole life for the rest of your life. Why is it that we go into darkness? What is the purpose of it? What is it actually doing in a practical and even nervous system type of way? These are the things that it is that we are wanting to address and that we are wanting to understand so that when we get into these deeper practices of spiritual evolution and initiation, we can understand what's actually taking place. So if you want to understand the process of traveling through shadow in order to step into your true light and step into who you are as the being that you are meant to be, this is absolutely going to be a video that is meant for you. So you simply have one thing to do. And ladies and gentlemen, that one thing is to stay tuned, and I will see you on the other side. Okay, so we are in here. So I'm just going to move right in to the subject at hand. But before we get started, let me give a little bit of an introduction on who I am, just so that you know me before we get into these things. My name is JeremiahJSchwartz. I am a professional occultist. I am fully initiated in the entirety of the Kabbalistic tree. I'm studied when it comes to the 22 major arcana of the tarot deck, planetary energies, and I'm also very aware of trauma and its relationship to the nervous system. Okay. So I am speaking from a space of having a lot of experience with going through this process myself to some of the deepest degrees. And as I speak on this subject today, this is coming from personal experience. This is not just something I've learned from someone or something that I've read in a book. This is something I've actually gone through the motions of. So we are speaking about the intertangling and the intertwining of death and rebirth and moving through shadow to then step into life, to step into light. And what exactly does this mean practically? What does this actually look like? This is not your typical love and light concept, affirmation of positive thinking, just so that we can spiritually bypass what is actually going on and try to stay in a state where everything feels like love. when really what's underneath the surface is a lot deeper things that are looking to be addressed and looking to be honored. Okay, so the first place that we want to understand is there is a beautiful process of catalyst and going through it. This means going through your shadows, going through the depths of your unconscious, the things that you do not necessarily fully know about yourself, and oftentimes are the things that you try to stay away from within yourself. So, when it comes to different parts of you and aspects of your psyche, there are many parts of you that are still frozen in time within your past that are connected to past traumas. And a lot of you spend so much time trying to resist these parts. I know I have, and I still do at times. This is a deep process of development, and no one's perfect. But there are people that are starting to understand these things and actively going into them with a willingness to learn and to dissolve and to find acceptance with death, whereas other people are completely resistant to it, trying to ignore it, stay away from it, and resist it at all costs. A lot of you are resisting this process, whether you're conscious of it or unconscious of it, whereas others that are listening are embracing it willingly and going through that dissolving. So I want you to really tune into yourself and ask yourself, where do you feel like you are in that process? So one of the reasons why we need to go through this catalyst and be willing to revisit these wounded parts of ourself is because if we don't, they are going to stay frozen in time and frozen on an emotional, energetic level within our nervous system that is going to prevent us from being able to access our most authentic self and our most powerful self. This is why we go through darkness. This is why we initiate dark occultism, transformations. This is why we call on our own darkness and our own shadows to come through and project themselves in a more sensitive way so that we can see those reflections, so that we can see the mirror of ourselves coming right back at us, even if that process is extremely painful and extremely uncomfortable. This is what it means to do real shadow work. This is what it means to really love yourself and the parts of you that you are afraid of, the parts of you that are the most uncomfortable parts, the parts of you that see the world in a way that is very bleak and mild and dangerous. We have to visit those parts with a sense of receptivity and a sense of acceptance, not with attachment. We don't want to attach to our negativity. We don't want to attach to death and think that this is all that life has to offer. We don't want to attach to seeing the world as separate from self so that we're always stuck in a warrior mode, fighting against everything and manifesting cyclical patterns of enemies and challenges and opposition. We want to express authentically to what we're feeling and what we're seeing. We want to observe our minds in regards to what it's thinking, but we want to visit it with a lens of receptivity and a willingness to dissolve through the death process and be willing to let go of what is no longer in our best interest. And your body will know these things at a core level. And all it requires is a commitment and an acceptance within self to go through this. And that process will naturally start unfolding and it will build a momentum that you're not going to be able to stop once that momentum gets started. And a lot of you have initiated this momentum into your life by creating a healthy foundation, removing certain relationships, environments, jobs, ways of seeing things, attachments to behavior patterns. A lot of you have let go of these things and are now experiencing this momentum. One of the scariest things about doing this deep, deep, deep level of shadow work and diving into the unconscious and healing trauma is the fact that once again, you are visiting old parts of you from the past that have been through these traumas. And as these parts of you come through your nervous system, you start to see from those past experiences from the same lens of when you were in that time frame. This is very scary, but it gives you room to have more acceptance and to let go even more and dissolve. It gives you more room to feel your anger, to feel your fear, your anxiety, your abandonment, your sadness, and then let it move through without holding it, letting it move through and letting go. It gives you room to start seeing how the world is also reflecting what is happening internally. So if you've created a reality where you're always in defense and you're always in a protective mode because there's deeper traumas that you are holding on to from the past of when you weren't safe. And now you've created relationships and belief systems that reaffirm why you always need to be defending yourself. When you're stuck in that state, when you're stuck with these attachments, you are choosing to hold on to a certain emotion and emotions. It's like you're making contracts with certain emotions and mindsets to keep you in that energetic state. And the second you start to undo those contracts and let go, allowing yourself to feel what it is that you're truly feeling, that is when the dissolving, the deep, deep, deep dissolving starts to take place. And you go through disillusion where your sense of self identity changes. This is one of the scariest things to go through because the world outside of you will start responding to your dissolving process. You will feel out of control. You will feel like you don't know who you are anymore. You will feel like people are seeing you in a different way and you're no longer understanding how to interact with them in the same way that you're once used to because you're becoming a different version of yourself and you're dissolving and healing and integrating these deeper rooted traumas and these deeper rooted repressed emotions. And you're revisiting these parts of you and giving them acceptance and love to come into the present moment of where you are. And this process takes time and it is a death process. So the willingness to go through death with surrender, knowing that it is scary, knowing there are going to be moments where you feel like you've got to defend yourself and protect yourself, knowing that you're not perfect and you're going to get triggered, but also knowing that this is you loving yourself at one of the deepest levels that you possibly could. And also knowing why are you going through this process? We're not going through this uncomfort and this death and all of this shadow just because it feels bad. And that's the right thing to do. It's just a good thing because this is what we're supposed to do. We're not in this journey to live miserable lives. We are going through this purging process, this dissolving process that is a cyclical process throughout the whole life experience. We are going through this because we are gaining access to more and more of what it means to be truly authentic to who we are. We are opening up certain energetic centers within our energy field that allows us to connect more with our soul and our heart. We are healing the nervous system to be able to enter into more regulated states, more vagal states, improving the vagal tone of the nervous system. This is allowing our life to start changing in beautiful ways where we start to see things completely different. We start to attract things based on our energetic resonance. So if I'm feeling love and I'm connecting to the ability to see life from the lens of everything's working out and everything's all good and it's real for me, it's authentic because I went through the shadows to be able to access this. Now I'm attracting everything that is in resonance with how I'm feeling and all the work that I've done to get to that energetic state. This is when the healed inner child starts to exist within your nervous system. You feel more socially connected. You start making eye contact better. You're more confident. You're speaking your truth from your heart. You want to see the love in all things as well as you see it in yourself. Nature starts communicating with you, the birds, the trees, the plants, the sky, the stars, the moon, the sun. Everything is working with you and it loves you. It literally is nurturing you like its own child. So when this starts to work through the system in a healed way, that becomes our energetic resonance. And at a certain point, we develop a neural pathway to access this degree of love within our system, literally. So, with all the woo woo shit aside, with all the love and light workers that say, just see love and light, just see love and light, just connect to your heart, right? There's a real integrated, authentic process of what it means to actually connect with your heart in a healthy, holistic way. in a way that is truly practical and is grounded to actually work for you in a way where your life transforms so drastically in a healthy way. So a lot of people are bypassing the real shadows. They're bypassing their darkness. They're bypassing the demonic realm, trying to get to the space of love and light, or trying to get to the space where their life can just feel better and be good. Or people are just ignoring it completely and they are settling for pain. They are settling for the suffering of mediocrity and what it means to be stuck in this rat race of everyday society. So people are either signing up to just conform to the suffering and the pain of what it means to be human and be someone that's trying to survive in this craziness, or you're trying to access love and you're trying to access connection. You're trying to access feeling good without addressing how you truly do this in a healthy, integrated way by going into your darkness first, by realizing in order to plant the seed, we have to dig into the dirt and make sure that foundation is tight, make sure that foundation is healthy, and then we can eventually get our fruit, and our fruit can reap us many beautiful things. So, becoming one with death is key. That is one of the first foundational principles of doing real shadow work and learning how to access your light. You have to love death and have acceptance for the death process just as much as you love your light and have acceptance for the rebirth process and the living process. There is no such thing as death without life and life without death. So when we are in these states of fluctuating between the ebb and the flow of the death and rebirth cycle, we need to honor that as fluidly as we can and listen to our intuition with this. We want to have a connection to our bodies and generally understand the nervous system. We want to follow emotions, emotional indications in regards to certain things. We want to allow ourselves to feel what we're feeling. Doesn't mean we need to react in crazy, outrageous ways, but we want to feel these things and find acceptance there. We want to tune into where is the sensation of where I'm feeling this? What thoughts are coming up? What memories are coming up? Am I willing to kind of revisit some of these memories or revisit some of these thoughts and just see them and not try to control them and push them away, but just let them exist for what they are with observance and realizing that a lot of these things are processes of ebb and flow, which means it's not permanent. These are connected to parts of you that exist within you. And as you heal those parts, you become more integrated into the true expression of who and what you are at that more higher vibratory level where you are connected to your heart. Your healed inner child is moving through the nervous system. Your energetic resonance is much more powerful in that way. And it doesn't mean that when you're connected to the heart, the energetic resonance is more powerful than when you're in your head working through shadows, working through the unconscious. They're just different contrasts to the same evolutionary process, and they are both necessary, just like on a battery, the positive and negative charge is necessary to create the power. So the first place we want to start, once again, is acceptance for death. Don't hold on to death. Don't attach to death. Don't operate out of a trauma space of saying, I grew up with a religious family, or I grew up around people that were all stuck in that love and light perspective and weren't really able to honor their shadows. So, out of a response, I'm going to attach to death and I'm going to attach to darkness and just do the same cycle that they're doing, but just in the opposite way. So I'm going to attach myself to death energy. I'm going to attach myself to survival and seeing everyone as separate from the self and thinking that I have enemies that I need to conquer and overcome and all these oppositions just because it's a response within my system of saying, I don't like what you're doing. I don't like that you are religious and that you tried to push me into your paradigm. And I could sense that you weren't willing to go into your darkness. And that was traumatizing for me. So now I'm going to do the same thing to you, but in the opposite. So now I'm going to be resistance to rebirth. I'm going to be resistance to life. I'm going to resist that because you resisted your darkness. That is not what we want to do, ladies and gentlemen. We want to honor death but not be attached to it. Go into your darkness, go into your negative energy, embody it, express it, let it become a part of you with observation that it is a part of you. It is not the whole you. Be willing to feel those emotions, the grief, the sadness, the anger, the depression, the loneliness, the abandonment, the sadness, the anxiety, the fear. Go into all of these things with acceptance and with a loving knowing that that is healthy and that is important, but do not attach to it. Don't hold that and say, I am always going to be sad. I am always going to be angry because this person did this, or because I went through this, or because this is what this means in my life. I've been diagnosed with a certain illness, so I'm always like this. Don't attach. Be aware and honor, but also be willing to surrender and dissolve the beliefs and the mindsets and the relationships and the environments and the circumstances that keep you attached to your darkness. When we go into shadow, we go into shadow to move through the shadow, to move with the shadow. We don't go into shadow to get stuck with the shadow, to get stuck in darkness. We move through it and move with it because shadow is chaos and chaos is hidden patterns that we don't fully understand with our logical minds. And we want to tune into these hidden patterns so that we can navigate to where these patterns are taking us. Because I promise you, from every shadow, there is light. There cannot be a shadow without light. Think about that. There is no such thing as a shadow without light. So the hidden chaos pattern that is existing within shadow always leads us back to light. And that is the beautiful contrast of spiritual development. Okay, so acceptance for death, being willing to surrender comfortability of having certain social circles and friendships and job titles and status and material items, certain relationships, intimate ones, being willing to let go of the need to hold these things to prevent yourself from actually going deeper into what you need to go into. There is a gravitational pull that's moving you into your shadow when you're attached to these things that most people aren't conscious of. And they can feel at a deep level, people can feel this, but they resist it and they fight against it because, there's so much indoctrination. There's so much programming of dualistic ideologies, and people think I'm resisting evil, I'm resisting bad, when really you're resisting yourself. Yes, it's going to be uncomfortable going through the death process. It's going to be one of the scariest things. That's why most people don't go through it, but it's what you need. It's what's healthy for you. It's where you find your tribe. It's where you find yourself. That's where you learn to love yourself the most, actually. When you are in your own darkness, where you don't feel like you deserve love or you don't feel like you could be loved, that's where you love you by allowing it to happen and realizing the universe is always working with you. This is where you start to tap into these deeper source principles because you can feel like shit and still be supported by the universe. Allow it to happen, but don't get attached to it. Too many people get attached to it. One of the biggest attachments I see is people getting attached to anger. And anger usually is one of these emotions that kind of sits on the surface of the grief and the abandonment and the loneliness and the sadness. So people have certain relationships that affirm anger. They'll have relationships that are abusive and triggering. And they will hold these relationships telling themselves a mental story saying the person's not that bad, they're not that abusive, when really they are. And it's keeping them in a perpetual cycle of anger that then fuels the reality of people are out to get me. I am not safe. I am me and you are you, and we are not connected. And that keeps alive duality. It keeps alive you fighting against you in the world, rather than being willing to love yourself and let go of that relationship and let go of those belief systems and those ideologies, and then facing the fear that's underneath the anger, facing the sadness and the loneliness and the depression of letting go of the anger, because the anger is no longer there to prop you up, to make you think you're in control or that you're protecting yourself, because the reality is you don't always need to protect yourself. The universe conspires in your favor. Okay, but we have to start that process of dissolution and letting go gently to realize this. You're not just going to be able to surrender it in one day and then realize, wow, I'm protected. It's going to be scary as hell. And we have these parts of us in our psyche that are trying to protect us, and we need to build trust with them. We need that slow, nurturing process of like, hey, I got this. Everything's going to be okay. I'm willing to feel these emotions. I'm willing to go there. I'm willing to visit this. And I know that you want to jump in and you want to protect me and you want to hold on to these beliefs and you want to hold on to these relationships and these circumstances, but I got this. You are not me all the way. You are a part of me. So let me slowly work into this. And then that part of you starts to build that trust with you. And it says, you know what? You do got this. I think, you know what? You've shown that you're really committed to this process and you're working through your foundation to support it. So, you know what? We'll step to the side and we'll give you room to go under those things. And that's where the disillusion starts to take place. That's where the sense of self identity starts to dissolve and you get to heal at that deepest core root. This is the deepest form of purging at an energetic nervous system level. And it's not comfortable. It's just point blank, period. It's just not comfortable, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. But it's okay for it to not be comfortable. Moving through death. This is the thing so many people resist. So many people, literally, the mass collective is in resistance to the death process because everyone wants to feel good. Why do you think there is so much programming to keep people in a dopamine spike, keep people in this entertainment spike of feel good, feel good, feel good? It's because this is a part of what it means to be human and existing within this planet with this matrix that we have. That's a part of it. We have to learn through the catalyst of realizing, wait, I'm supposed to feel not so comfortable during times. This is actually okay. And this is healthy. And I can find the deepest form of love and acceptance for myself when I'm in that state. I don't need to attach to these things that make me feel good, but I know are not healthy for me right at the moment when my soul is pulling me into my darkness. And I don't need to see my darkness as bad or as wrong as or as evil, like religion oftentimes programs us to think. And then other people kind of indoctrinate us to believe. You know, as I said, if most people are resisting their darkness, then what do you think they're unconsciously projecting most of the time? Resistance up to that darkness. And you listen to people, you talk to people, you resonate with them because you found some sort of security state within your system, but it's based on attachments that are not healthy. And it's based on you lying to yourself and having to keep that up to stay there when really, if you just let go and acknowledge the death process and surrender to it, then you can really do the deeper degree healing. And there's layers to it. Okay. In contrast to this, when we start to embrace life, this is a whole nother avenue of development now through the deeper shadow work that you're doing and integrating of the unconscious. Through this, we are doing this to experience life. We are doing this to feel better, to be able to manifest what we want to manifest, like at a soul desire level. And that's one of the most beautiful parts is your soul already knows what you want. And it's an energetic feeling state that you access that then magnetizes these things to you. This is not woo woo. I'm a living testament and embodiment of these principles. I am at a place in my process where I've done a lot of integration and a lot of inner child healing, where I'm at a space where my inner child is moving through my nervous system in a different way, a much healthier way than what it was in the past. And I've attracted the circumstances to be financially free in my own life. I've attracted the circumstances to do what I love. I've attracted a beautiful relationship in my life, someone that I really respect and someone that I'm really attracted to in all levels. I've attracted so many friendships that are soul level friendships where we parallel each other in our life experiences and our conversations aren't just surface, they're deeper. I live in a beautiful environment. Every day is like literally perfect here. And I'm not kidding you. It literally looks beautiful. Does it mean my life is always perfect? No, there's still things I go through, but my environment is reflecting beauty and safety back to me because I've done deeper layer processing underneath. I've got to a space where I know how to go out in life and I know how to access the ability to see things where the cup looks half full, where I can open up from my heart in that way and just realize, wow, like I don't have to worry about all this shit. I don't have to worry about the money. I don't have to worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't have to worry about this person, what they think about me. I don't have to worry about, you know, is this whatever's going to happen? Like, I know that from this state, everything is working for me and it's coming to me. But this was not something that I just got to choose and got to immediately access. This ability for me to enter into this state and understand it and develop a neurological pathway to it required me to go through heavy amounts of death energy and be willing to travel into my shadow and being willing to create a healthy foundation to honor that darker death process. That's how I got to life. That's why I'm here now sharing this entire video, sharing this message, energetically transferring this heart space and this energy to you as the listener. And for all of you that study from my channel and that have been studying from my channel, you have received an energetic transfer of ebbs and flows of me in the deepest shadow aspects of myself. And then also me connecting to some of the densest heart aspects of myself, where it's radiating that sense of unconditional love and the healed inner child. You have seen a balance of both of these aspects of me throughout my entire career on YouTube that I have so far. And I leave it up for that reason. And it's going to continue to happen. So we don't do this work to not feel good, to not get to a space where our lives improve. That's the whole fucking point of why we're doing this. And yes, I say fucking because it's important to understand we're not doing this to be miserable. We're not going into our shadow to just stay in that darkness and not get out. It can feel like when we get into that stuff, it can feel like it's going to last forever. And that's scary. But you got to know in the back of your mind that as you honor it, it does get you to more life. That's one of the most beautiful things. From death, there's always life. It's natural. It happens. And from life, there's always death. And that's why it ebbs and it flows back and forth. And whenever you open up different layers, that's what you can expect through the process. So when we start to access life through acceptance of death, we are now choosing to see joy. We're choosing to see connectedness. We're choosing to see appreciation. We're choosing to see that everything literally is nurturing self. And it comes with energetic changes that happen to the energy field. Once again, when you hear me talk about the heart space, that's the real deal. So when it comes to the color green, and when it comes to like the planetary energy of Venus, when it comes to this area, on the body in that chest area, that's like a real energetic space. And there are meridians within the body that correlate together. And it operates also through our nervous system to move us into regulation, where we enter into a literal state within the system that you can literally have access to. You can literally develop a neurological pathway to enter into that state where it's like you have that sense of control to enter into it and be it and exist there. And that becomes the new you. It becomes the new identity that you are forming for yourself that is more refined and more connected to unconditional love for yourself and the world around you. And guess what? You start magnetizing everything you want and need to you. You don't have to logically figure it out. You don't have to try to control everything. You don't have to try to manifest the thing to feel good. It's the reverse process. We want to get to the state by doing the real work to get there, to then attract everything else we want to us. That's the approach that we want to take. You want to approach it the other way around? Good luck. I've tried it. It doesn't work. You're going to get what you thought you wanted, and you're going to realize you're still void, and the same cyclical patterns are manifesting that keep you feeling like shit. And then you're going to realize, oh, wow, this wasn't the answer. Okay. But obviously, you will have a deeper understanding and a deeper lesson that was learned from it, which is important and which is valuable. But let's honor the process, the authentic way, the way that it is that I am communicating to you right now. Okay. So when we start to access this life within self, once again, this starts to form into the new identity. There comes times now where you are wiring this new version of you into your nervous system, the version that's more connected and things of that nature. And then a new layer opens up, a new layer of trauma, a new layer of shadow work, a new layer of going into the unconscious. And guess what? It may require you to sort of let go of being in your heart space for a period of time to go more into your head or go to more other areas on the body that might be a little bit more survival state, that might be a little bit more shut down and freeze in nature. But when we go into that and we're allowing these energies to flow naturally the way that they do authentically in our bodies, meaning we're using our emotions as indications and our sensations as indications to say, this is what I'm being led to do now. This is like what my soul is pushing me into right now. And it might not feel comfortable, but this can be another layer of healing and another layer of processing. So as I said, we might have points where we're feeling lighthearted and we're feeling connected, and then something opens up for us. And it requires us to go back into shadow, back into the darkness. And we can let go of needing to be in that heart connection and hold on to it and just let it go and know that as we accept the darkness and find love in that darkness, that naturally we will return back to that heart space. As long as we're honoring our foundation, listening to sensations, honoring emotions, being aware of the relationships in our life, being aware of environments, addressing unhealthy coping mechanisms and replacing them more with healthy ones, we will always return back to love. We will always return back to connectedness and the feeling of literally feeling good. So going into darkness, knowing that you're doing it to return to more of your light, because the deeper you're going into your darkness, the stronger you are refining your light. That is the key to allow yourself to really go through these ebbs and these flows that are always going to happen throughout the entirety of your life. The more you're integrating the shadow and the more you're refining it, the more of that neurological pathway you'll start to have of the new you, the reborn you, the version of you that's in resonance with your soul's purpose. And you will spend more time and more energy in that version of you as time progresses. These things are also connected to certain astrological correspondences that take place in accordance to your birth chart. The Saturn return, this is a big point in people's lives where they go through this deep shadow work and then step into the beginning stages of what it means to be them and who they are and what they're being led to be in their life. Not everyone honors these processes, and people stay stuck in not knowing who they are because they're resisting their shadow and they're resisting the death process. They're resisting dissolution. They're resisting letting go of attachments. And it keeps them in that mediocre state of survival, or it keeps them in a false bypassing of, I am already love. I am already light. I don't need to go into my shadow. I've already accessed it. That's your typical love and light worker in today's community. And just to explain that a little bit more, what those people are doing that are in that love and light space, a lot of these people that are in that space, they are resisting their shadow. They've gotten to certain degrees of development where they've accessed love within their nervous system and that ability to kind of be with that and be from the heart. But a lot of them are still resisting their shadow. So they're all for life, but they're in resistance to death. And you can't have that. This is the same coin here. We need the whole coin. So what these people end up doing is they end up having to find death in different ways. So they end up eating crazy, outlandish diets where they don't eat any meats and they are eating little to nothing and they are starving their inner child and they start physically declining. That is a death process that they are unconsciously doing to themselves because they're resisting their shadow. They're resisting going through death. So it's naturally manifesting unconsciously on their physical bodies. They start physically dying. They lose all their weight. They become skin and bones and they think it's healthy. They start fasting for 30 days on end because they think it's healthy. Really, they're just resisting death. And they're causing death on themselves. They're hurting their own inner child. Or these love and light people, what they can also do is they can lead you in through the heart and say things that sound good and sound resonant because they are kind of speaking from that space. But then their shadow comes through. And then they start projecting onto you what they're unwilling to go through within themselves. So if someone is attached to their heart space and is resisting the gravitational pull to go into their own darkness, now they're going to start projecting onto you why you need to fear your darkness, why you need to stay away from your darkness, and why you need to be in that light space. And inherently, as they're doing it, it's actually going to be their shadow that's projecting, which is going to break you down into your darkness. Because when someone's really resisting their own shadow like that, and they're trying to say it's all about love and light, and we don't want to look at that death process, we don't want to look at these demonic energies and these shadows, then inherently the shadow within them is saying, okay, well, if we're not going to direct this towards us, then the only way we can keep resisting is by expressing the shadow and projecting it onto to other people, confusing them by making them feel like their own shadow is not safe and not appropriate, and then breaking them down because our own shadow is now doing it through us and projecting outwards onto them rather than directly coming back to us. And people that end up doing this, it always does come back to them. It like, if you're resisting your shadow, it's always going to manifest back on you. So even though they're projecting it externally and trying to get relief to not face their own repressed energies, it is still affecting them. That's why, once again, a lot of these love and light communities sort of divorce themselves from society. That's a death energy. We are sacrificing our ability to be regular humans that exist in life and do things that are important for our growth. And we're choosing to divorce from that or disconnect from that to be in communities where we're all able to prop each other up through spiritual bypassing and through spiritual ego to not face ourselves. And if we can constantly reflect our ability of repression to each other, then we can better repress ourselves. And then we have to try to change other people subconsciously. This is not always conscious. We have to try to change other people to start fearing their own shadow because that's what we're doing as a community. And as long as we can stay in this little paradigm and stay in this bubble and not have to face reality, not have to face ourselves, as long as we're wearing all of our tie-dye and we don't wear shoes and we're connecting with nature and we're doing our breath work and we have all these modalities of everything it is that we do, as long as we keep managing these things and managing by not going into our darkness completely, then we're good. We can just live the life that we're supposed to live because that's what it means to be a soul and a spirit. We're not supposed to be confined here on earth. We're basically being harvested for our energy when that's not true. You were a human being that chose to come to this planet and experience the catalyst of what this planet offers, not divorce yourself from it and think that you're beyond it. Use the catalyst to go into death and accept death so that you can actually step into life from a more holistic, integrated lens so that you're not projecting onto other people not to face their shadow because that's bad or that's wrong or that's evil. And then simultaneously breaking them down and hurting them because your shadow's doing it. Because you're not willing to go into your death, you're projecting that death energy onto another person while convincing them it's not appropriate. And that's so toxic. That is abusive. So this is why so many of you listening have a hard time and have a lot of frustrations with a lot of these people in these love and light communities because that's what they're doing. And that's why I always say, look at their life, look at the way they live, look at their health, look at their bodies, look at their physical bodies, look at their eyes, look at their skin complexion, look at their hair, look at the people they associate with, look at the deeper layers of their soul and see if they are really honoring their process. Try to take inventory to see, are they really doing their shadow work? Are they really dissolving? Are they really surrendering? Are they really accepting the death process and the parts of them that they're afraid to accept? And when they talk about love and when they talk about light, are they actually speaking from a space of understanding the necessity for shadow? Or are they speaking more from a space of, I am unconsciously trying to get you to not face your shadow because that's what I'm doing? That's what we want to understand. That is what it looks like to be an unintegrated light worker that speaks from the heart space. They still have access to their heart. That's why they're very convincing. That's why what they say sometimes does resonate, but then it's intertangled with a lot of this toxicity of what they're repressing. But when you honor both energies, the yin to the yang, the masculine to the feminine, the demonic to the angelic, you are now becoming a whole integrated being. And that's connected to the rainbow, the real essence of the rainbow body and the rainbow serpent. This is one of the highest levels of spiritual occult initiation that someone can go through because it requires some of the deepest healing to take place with going through death to really open up the inner child and the wounds of the inner child and then healing those to access those beautiful qualities. and then connect to those energy centers within yourself and fluctuate between the colors, right? Think about the colors of the rainbow. We want to fluctuate between the different energy centers, whether it's regulation, survival, shutdown, freeze, dorsal, sympathetic, parasympathetic, regulation. Uh, we want to fluctuate between these things as it's authentic, as we're going with this ebb and flow of life and death. But once again, what is one of the biggest things that you can take from this video? When we accept death and go through death, we do this so that we can have more life. That's why we do it. We're not doing this to be miserable. We're not doing this to live lives that suck, because it fucking sucks to do some of this deeper level shadow work at times. Let's be fucking real. It is not comfortable, and it's okay. And you can find love in that, but recognize in the back of your mind, we are all connected. The universe is always conspiring to support you. You really don't have enemies. I know you might think you do, but wake up. You really don't. Everything is you, and you are everything. Realize that when you manifest opposition, adversary, and enemies, it is only a reflection of something deeper in you that is needing to come to the surface. And as you allow yourself to do it, you can process it and heal it. And it's not going to be comfortable. But notice you're doing this so that you can actually step into love. You can actually step into, wow, life is beautiful. And when you gain that neural pathway, which takes time to access your heart and to access this aspect of your energetic resonance, it changes your whole frequency. It literally changes your energy field. And this is not woo woo. I know a lot of the love and light community, they make this sound woo woo because they're resisting their darkness and they're still talking about these things. But I'm telling you, as someone who is a black magician who literally communicates with extraterrestrial consciousness, that is some of the most destructive, dangerous, catalytic energies, like reptilians all the way to like grays and all this stuff. Like I have interdimensional relationships and past life connections to some of the most apex predatory types of creatures that exist, within our solar system. And I'm telling you, as someone who connects with these harsh, intense, dense, oftentimes negatively polarized energies, these beings are here to support us in our development, even if they're uncomfortable to experience and to work with. And when I say that we step into love, and when I say we heal the inner child and integrate that into the nervous system and develop this rainbow body within the system, and then we start to live our life from a different space with a different identity that we then start to develop neurological pathways to access, I'm telling you this from personal experience and reality. And this is something so many people don't know about and they don't speak about it. I'm here talking about it because I know I'm a living embodiment of it. Take what I'm saying, not with a grain of salt. Okay. I mean, usually you would say, people would tell you take everything with a grain of salt, but this is stuff that is important to understand. And I'm here and I'm being vulnerable in regards to how I communicate these things because that's what I love to do. And that's what I always do. But I really hope you appreciate what it is that I'm talking about here, because there is so much importance and so much valuable understanding in these things. And I'm telling you from personal experience. And once again, this is why I encourage you to subscribe and get the notification bell on my YouTube channel, because there are not a lot of people, very, very, very slim, that are able to break this down in the way that I'm actually explaining it. Like, I'm telling you, I'm aware that this is one of the most practical ways to understand the true developmental process of a soul living on our planet, so that you can go through it in the most effortless way possible to know what's happening, because I'm educating you so that you can go through it, as I said, more effortlessly and know why you're going through it. This is like me providing a light at the end of the tunnel for you. I'm showing you this is why you're in pain. This is how you can shift these things. This is why we accept it and we go into it while still trying to create safety and foundation. We do this to step into our new self, to rebirth, to heal the inner child, to access unconditional love, to access source consciousness within the being. That's why we do it. What does that do? It changes our life. Everything around us changes for the better at a soul desire level. And every single one of you listening to me right now, you resonate with that at your core. Why do I know that? Because it's in all of us. I am you and you are me. Okay. I know it. I know you resonate with what I'm saying. Okay. This is what it is that I wanted to communicate. I think that this gives the true understanding of everything that is most important to understand when it comes to this process. And I am honored to be able to communicate this with you. I am honored to be able to share this information in a way that I've been sharing it. And I encourage you to continue watching my process through my development of how I go into death processes, how I find acceptance there and go through dissolution of my ego and my sense of self, knowing that it's uncomfortable, but also knowing that it's going to allow me to experience a life that I even more so want to live, knowing that I'm healing and this is what I'm supposed to be doing at that core level. I will be the embodiment of it. I will be the example for all of you. I will be a leader in that way. And I encourage you to watch my process. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to wrap it up here. If you enjoyed, hit the thumbs up button. Drop down in the comment section and let me know if you are resonating with what it is that I'm speaking about. I would love to hear if you're following what it is that I'm saying. Definitely let me know. Drop into the comments. Hit the notification bell. Get notified whenever I post. Don't miss out. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribing, you are further energetically linking in. Okay, there's a deeper energetic link that is taking place there. If there is someone that you know that would gain value from this content, I encourage you to copy and paste this link, send it to the person right now. That's the first step that you can do to start accessing some of that connectedness and some of that heart that you have inside of you, some of that soul. Okay. Now, obviously, if you don't resonate with it right now, that's completely fine. Okay. But I would encourage you. Now, I'm going to take your awareness to literally the most important link within the entirety of the YouTube description itself. This is the Patreon. It is the first link in this YouTube description. Over 260 plus exclusive videos that are organized in collection sections that you can start studying to a much deeper degree. Everything from occult knowledge, like a lot of the things that I'm actually breaking down in this today's video, and deeper things, like much more, occult, hidden types of stuff. Initiation education, like Kabbalistic tree initiation, like how I got to the space where I understand these things. What did I go through? What is that process? All that stuff's on the Patreon. Ritualistic practices that I perform on camera and teach you how to do. Okay, all of that. Nervous system regulation, creating healthy foundation, more education on trauma, the whole gamut of what's important to understand is on the Patreon. There are over 900 active members that are currently signed up for the Patreon. Now, that speaks for itself. Okay, take advantage of it. Now, at tier number 3 and 4, you are gaining access to one of the most exclusive ritualistic services that I personally offer for my collective. This is called the Universe B Vampire Ritual Service. Now, I want to say this. This is not for everyone. This is a ritualistic service that is the only thing that I offer for my collective consciousness that is meant for people that are willing to go through the deeper integration process within themselves and being willing to face some of these aspects of the unconscious and heal some of these deeper wounds within. Okay, this is for people that are willing to do that, willing to go through the process of creating foundation. And also people that are in resonance truly at that core level with some of these darker aspects of spiritual self-development. So when you're in resonance with a lot of these demonic energies, that is what I'm talking about. There are a lot of people that have soul commitments with these energies that they don't even know about. And I'm here to support a lot of people through this deepest process of shadow work. And that's what the ritual is it's an energetic transfer from me to you as the participant. All the energetic experience that I've been through and that I understand, I transfer over to you through ritual to support you through your own individual process in whatever way that looks like for you authentically, to integrate these darker things inside of you and to pull these emotions up and revisit these parts and do it with understanding, do it with foundation, do it with doing it in a healthy way with acceptance as well. Okay. I'm also creating energetic changes to the energy field through this ritual to allow you to be much more magnetic to dark energy and to chaos, which also corresponds with being able to work with these repressed energies. And what that eventually does as you find more acceptance with this and as you integrate it more is you start being able to pull this darker energy or chaos out of things in the world around you. And you can turn it into your own power and evolutionary potential. So you can actually pull the energy from someone's attachments or false self out of their body, out of their literal energetic field, use it for your benefits, use it for your development, and simultaneously leaving that person in a position where now they have to face their repressed energies and work through those. And if you're really refined with the process, you can also help support people that you're connected with. So as you pull these things out of them, you can also guide them to help them understand what's actually happening. Now, of course, if there's abusers in your life that are taking advantage of you in different ways, you can pull that energy out of them, surface their repressed emotions, and now they have to face that regardless. They have no choice but to start working on their inner child, which is a win win situation in all ways. Okay, so this is accessible to tier number 3 and 4 of the Patreon. And then you're getting access to the Atlantean crystal grid, which is a advanced crystal grid that I have right here, where all the participants that take advantage of this ritual service get placed into the grid on an intimate level with their picture, important information. And there's a torus field generator that sits in the grid that literally projects EMF frequencies based on what I play to consistently streamline energetic support to all of you that are a part of this ritualistic service. If you want to do more studies on what this is, go to my playlist on YouTube and look at the vampire playlist. It will give you more understandings on what this process is. So definitely consider it. Once again, this is all within the Patreon at the first link in the description. The deadline to sign up for this ritual is the 29th. Excuse me. The deadline to sign up is the 28th. The day of the performance is the 29th. So if you're taking advantage of the service, you have to be signed up before the 29th. So the deadline's the 28th. If you sign up from any other day before that, you're good to go. Okay? And that's what that is. There are over 350 active members that are participating. Once again, that speaks for itself. We'll leave it there. Okay. Second link is where you can book a one-on-one call with me, or it is where you can book the mentorships with me. So you can either book an hour call, get to know me a little bit better, share your story with me, or you could book a mentorship. And this is the most intimate way to personally work with me, where we are going to be going very deep into your traumas and into the things that are going on within your system. And I'm going to educate you on how to create a healthy foundation. I'm going to educate you on some of the patterns it is that I'm noticing in regards to your behavior so that we can better work on these things together. We're going to be going into your shadow together once we have that healthy foundation that supports the process and will support you to start regulating your nervous system and connecting to your heart for maybe the first time in a very long time. Okay. And then as we establish the foundation, then we can start moving into things like occult initiation and development, if that is something that you are interested in. So I do a bunch of different mentorships. I'm working with people from all over the world. My schedule's actually quite full with doing these mentorships, but there's always room for new people. And I know that people come in at the right time. So if that's you, if you're in residence, check it out. It's the second link below. Now, in the same second link below, you can book a tarot card reading with Alexia. She is a very gifted tarot card reader and can literally pinpoint what it is that you're going through and experiencing on an interpersonal level, self-development level, by showing you the cards and what the cards mean. Like, what does the card actually communicate to show you what you need to know about yourself? And then tell you what's going to be taking place in your near future to get prepared for the next level of your development process and what you need to know about yourself and how you're going to shift into that phase. Now, she also connects these things back to the Kabbalistic tree to give even more depth to what's taking place. So if you want to take advantage of that, she's been getting a lot of readings booked with her. Definitely consider it. It's the second link below. Third link below is the LUCIFERS Foundation course. This is the ideal course for you if you are looking to build a healthy relationship with the energy that is known as Lucifer, which is the source of our galaxy. Lucifer is literally the source consciousness of our galaxy. Very significant energy, very powerful. There are steps to take to understand this energy and to, connect with it in a healthy way. And that is everything you're going to find in this course. So if you want to take advantage, third link below, tons of people have bought it. People are still buying it every day. Look into it. Fourth link below is my YouTube memberships. I would love to have you a part of the memberships. Okay, simply that's it. I would love to have you a part of the family. So if you want to join into my YouTube community family, become a YouTube member. I would love to see your name show up in the live streams, appearing as green, giving special shout outs, etc. It's super fun. Okay, so check that out. Fourth link below. Now, fifth link is my book recommendations for you. This gives you everything that you need to know to have the tools that you need to go through proper occult development and initiation. So, with the spirits between the angels and the demons and their sigils and brief descriptions to understand what they generally represent. When it comes to Kabbalah, the tree of death, the tree of life, the major arcana of the tarot, all of this fundamental, very important knowledge and information is in this 4 ebook bundle that is at the fifth link below. And it's broken down in a digestible way so that you can actually understand it without all the crazy mysticism that makes these things sound like riddles. So definitely consider it. It is literally like one of the most recommended things that I have for you if you are looking to purchase 4 ebooks. It is a bundle that you're getting for $128, which is absolutely nothing for everything that's in this bundle. Okay. And you'll gain immediate access once you purchase, and you'll have it for the rest of your life. You can also buy the physical copies of these things on Amazon. Okay, so if I pull the books out, I got them right here. So here are some of the books. Order 47 right here, The Demons of the Goetia. Simply open the page. We have the Powers of Aim, Sigil, all that stuff. Look at that. Aim, Demon number 23. Very powerful tools to use. Sigil, all that. Like, look at that. I mean, it doesn't get more practical and understandable than that. Then we got the angels, the same concept with the angels, just like that with all the sigils. Sephiroth, everything you need to know about the tree of life and the major arcana associated with it. And then the tree of death with the Qlippoth and everything you need to know about that and the tunnels of Set. Okay, so very important fundamental tools. These are the 4 ebooks that you gain immediate access to within the bundle through ebook, but there's also the physical copies on Amazon. So if you just search up these names, Order 47, Qlippoth, Tunnels of Set, etc., they should pop up on Amazon. And I'm actually going to make a whole separate video, and I'm going to post a link in my description moving forward for my YouTube channel so that people can have access, to the links to actually purchase these books in the physical copies. Okay? So that's going to wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all have an amazing rest of the day, and I will see you in the next video. And if it is nighttime where you're at, I also hope you have a wonderful night. Okay, peace.